Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. Today, we're on board the Battleship Massachusetts in Fall River, Massachusetts, and we're looking at some of the battle damage this ship took during her career. New Jersey took some damage in her lifetime, but there's nowhere left where you can see it. On Massachusetts, the Navy didn't make full repairs, and the museum has maintained the damage. So if you look behind me, you might see some red splashes in the bulkhead. That is splinter damage from a shell hit. Massachusetts is an extremely lucky ship. Despite the battle damage she sustained, nobody was ever killed on board throughout the ship's entire career. This damage was received from an 8-inch French shell fired by a shore battery at El Hank during the Allied invasion of Casablanca. During that engagement, the shore battery engaged the battleship, while a French battleship, the Jean Bart, which had escaped the fall of France to France's North African colonies, was rapidly activated and was able to fire on the American heavy cruisers, one of which had General Patton on board. The French guns used dye markers in their shells so that they could see which ship was firing and adjust their aims accordingly. Patton is said to have been splashed with a yellow dye marker from one of the shell hits on his heavy cruiser. I guess it wouldn't be a flagship because he was a general, but on the heavy cruiser from which he was watching his army invade French North Africa. Because the charismatic general was under fire and the other ships of the fleet, Battleship Massachusetts, despite taking damage from the shore battery, engaged the French battleship Jean Bart and was able to land a number of shells on her. Earlier, dauntless dive bombers from the Ranger had dropped 500-pound bombs, but in my opinion, next to the South Dakota-class battleships like Massachusetts, Jean Bart and Richelieu were the best of the 35,000-ton treaty battleships. The 500-pound bombs didn't disable her. Jean Bart is an interesting ship because she was incomplete during the fall of France. One of her 2 quadruple gun turrets hadn't even been installed yet. Much of her range-finding equipment and anti-aircraft guns weren't in place either. The ship hadn't even received a final coat of paint, and in some places was just bare metal. Gun turrets had been filled in with concrete to keep the water out, which any viewer of my channel knows is a bad thing. Anyway, Jean Bart's only operational forward 15-inch gun was firing at the Allied fleet. Massachusetts dropped a number of 16-inch shells on her, and one of them managed to hit the barbette for the forward turret. That one broke up entirely. A second one hit the face armor of the turret, the thickest part of the armor, and while it wasn't able to punch through, it was able to break some of the incompleted armor off and jam the turret in place, preventing the battleship from taking any further part in the invasion. While the French were able to fix the turret, dauntless dive bombers from Ranger again attacked Jean Bart, this time with 1,000-pound armor-piercing bombs, the same ones that would sink the Japanese carriers at Midway, the same ones that had sunk the Japanese carriers at Midway 5 months earlier. These were able to do considerable damage to Jean Bart's fantail. In some cases, the near misses exploding alongside caused more damage than the actual hits to the ship. 16-inch shells like this one have a windscreen on top that give them the pointed shape for aerodynamic efficiency. That is designed to break away on impact. Beneath that windscreen, around here, you have a more traditional bullet-shaped cone that with armor-piercing shells is pretty solid. This is what is designed to punch through the steel armor of a warship. Shells like this only have a small bursting charge of about 35 pounds inside. It's on a time delay fuse that waits a fraction of a second as it's passing through the armor before it explodes. The damage that Battleship Massachusetts did to Jean Bart where the shell hit the armor and then broke up would have left pieces very similar to this one. While the shell that hit the after starboard superstructure exploded in midair and only peppered the ship in shrapnel that didn't need to be repaired, one French 8-inch shell did punch through the main deck here on the port side between turrets 1 and 2. It made it into a berthing space, but was contained there. Part of why battleships are compartmentalized. Again, the Battleship Cove Museum has done a really great job of showing where damage was patched. Here clearly something punched through. Here below it, it didn't punch all the way through, so they just left it as it was. Here was a big patch, maybe that's where the body of the shell came through afterwards. Whatever the case, that 8-inch projectile could not get through the more than 5-inch thick Class B armor deck we're standing on. So while it could punch through the shell plating of the ship, it cannot get into the vitals inside the armored citadel, which is a good thing, because here between the turrets is all magazine spaces. So in the overhead, you can see where the shell punched through. It's only 1.5 inch thick special treatment steel. That's been patched with a simple doubler plate over it. The stuff that was cut out was preserved, so you can see the hole and the spalling on the back side. I really love how the museum did this. And this is an American 8-inch shell, like would have equipped our heavy cruisers. It's approximately the same size, certainly the same diameter, as the French counterpart that hit the ship here. Thanks for watching our video today. Battle damage isn't the only thing that destroys ships. Rust and time do that as well. If you would like to help Battleship Cove's ships survive the onslaught of time, we've left some links in the description below for their YouTube channel, their Facebook page, and their website. If you live close enough to volunteer, they have an extremely young and active volunteer force maintaining their ships, and they'd love to have help. If you're not close enough to volunteer, but you would like to support them monetarily, there's a link there, and they're doing a number of really interesting projects with the donations you send. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, and also from viewers like you. Thank you for your support. We try to put out multiple pieces of content every week, and thanks to the donations you've made, we're able to now travel to other sites and record footage here. If you want to get notified when we're putting out new content, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.